Good morning. So I'm doing a little brief talk for the Theosophical Society of Ojai. The request is Michelle. And thank you very much, Michelle, for giving me this opportunity to serve you. So I'm supposed to speak a little bit about some topic from the Vedas. And yes, like I come from the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, which I was born into, and then been studying the Vedas from a very young age. It's been over 30 years now that I'm associated with these teachings of Bhaktivedanta Swami. And so I'll give a brief. The Vedic teachings is to know the aim of and objective of human life, the highest purpose of human existence, and how to fulfill that. Um, we're all looking for peace and joy, but instead we are constantly having to deal with what the Vedas call adidaivik, adhyatmik, adibhotic miseries, which means miseries caused by natural disasters, miseries caused by our mind and body, miseries caused by other people, on top of the birth, death, old age, and disease. So, how do we transcend these things and what? So, the Vedas give us all these wisdom. Actually, if one studies this ageless wisdom of the Vedic knowledge thoroughly, they will find that it includes everything that can be found in other bona fide scriptures and more. It's a very comprehensive, detailed study. The Vedic principles consist of universal principles that are applicable to everyone, irrelevant of your religion, your gender, your body, your age, your nation, a political party, etc. It doesn't matter because these are universal principles. Like, for example, the law of gravity. If you jump from a building, it doesn't matter, what religion you are or what color you are or what age you are, you're going to face the law of gravity. So same thing, there's a laws of natures and things like that that are applicable to everyone. And well, yeah, and again, some people will say, well, if I don't believe in the Vedic, is it regardless of whether you believe in the Vedic knowledge or not, they are applicable to everyone. Nothing to do with, it's nothing to do. These delicate laws have nothing to do with blind religious fanaticism or some sort of revolutionary thought. They provide an authorized scientific understanding how our universe functions to bring us ultimately closer to restoring our true relationship with our true source, or the absolute personality of Godhead, as we say. The popular expressions remind us that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings trying to sort out what it means to have a spiritual experience. So our core essence is spiritual, and unless and until we connect with that, just like a fish out of water, it's not going to be happy on land, even if you build it a beautiful palace. So, just in the same way, if we don't connect with what is our true nature, we can never be happy here. So, yes, so that's a core essence, and yeah, so our core essence is spiritual, but then how does our spiritual spark interface properly with our human body and the material world we find ourselves in? These are all questions, great Indian rishis remind us that it's not something we can just resolve simply by meditating silently on our own or on our own, because as humans, while in a material stupor, we are all suffer from four chronic flaws. So this is what the Vedas say to us. The four flaws that we do suffer from. One is we commit mistakes as human beings. No one can say they've never committed a mistake. Just for example, you burn something in the oven. Who can say they're free from this shortcoming? We are reminded of that on a daily basis, actually. And second one is to be illusioned. For example, we can see a snake as a rope. Illusion means really to accept something which is not real to be real. And we call it Maya in the Vedic system. Maya means what is not. Everyone is, for example, everyone is accepting the body as the self. But if I ask you what you are, you may say, I'm Mr. John, I'll say that's your name, or you say I'm a rich man. Or I say, well, that's just how much money you have, but that's not who you are. I'm this, I'm that. All these are bodily identifications, but you're not this body, according to the Vedas. This is a powerful illusion that one must be trained to see and identify in order not to waste your whole life thinking or chasing something that has nothing to do with our ultimate self or ultimate good. So that's the second. And the third flaw that all humans have is we have imperfect senses. For example, right now, we can't see the coronavirus, which can kill. We are proud of our eyes. Often someone will challenge us, can you show me God? But do you have the eyes to see God? You will never see if you don't know who God is and have not been trained how to identify him when he might be right in front of you. If immediately the room becomes dark, we cannot even see our hands. So, what power do we have, in terms of our senses? They're imperfect. We cannot therefore expect knowledge by applying these imperfect senses alone. We can't find out the absolute knowledge through that. This is one of the risks of pursuing the Jnana Yoga path, because we think our brains have the can do it, or our eyes, our senses, but actually our brains have difficulty grasping even the size of our own universe. What to speak of the spiritual worlds, which the Vedas tell is a far more extraordinary in an order of magnitude. With all these deficiencies, how can we be sure we are understanding anything correctly? The conditioned soul is seriously flawed and is incapable of figuring out anything properly on its own. This is given in this introduction to the Sri Ishopanishad by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami. And the fourth flaw that all human beings have is the cheating propensity. Of the four flaws, this is very prominent. I mean, it is going on all around us all the time. The courts reflect numerous examples of how inclined we are to cheat, and that's why we're constantly having all these court cases and lawyers and judges. Why do we need all that? Junk mail, call out tours, important, open immediately, but it is neither important and often doesn't need to be opened. It's just some sort of cheating thing to get people to buy some product, or sign up for something. The FBI is overwhelmed with people committing fraud in an endless varieties of ways. Phishing is tangible proof of fraud going on every time we log into our email system. Spam filters are working to protect us from being bombarded by an endless array of useless products that are often there just to take advantage of uninformed public. People who pretend to know more or to be more than they actually are also provide daily examples of our human propensity to cheat. We think we are trying to give people information that we ourselves don't really know. So this is particularly true in the more subjective areas of our life. Much of the unregulated supplements that promise to restore your memory, libido, energy, youth are just placebos. Lives have been destroyed due to the unethical behavior of individuals who present themselves as teachers, gurus, lawyers, mechanics, computers, technicians, and spiritualists, when in many cases these individuals are not properly licensed or accredited from a bona fide certifying school or institution. So that's really important. Everything has to be certified and institution, someone, to see, wow, who do we listen to? So many of the books that are published are authored by individuals who themselves are conditioned by these four flaws and not even aware of them. So, they're anxious to share their opinions. I think this and I think that and this and that. But how useful is that information that comes from a conditioned soul? So, this conditioned state of ours is very humbling. Honest individuals will acknowledge the crippling nature of these four flaws and seek ways to avoid being trapped by the way they fool us into thinking we understand things properly. This is where the great sages tell us real spiritual inquiry begins. It begins with humility of recognizing our own lackings. How can we really know what is the real truth then? What is the absolute truth? After all, there is a drunk in every bar around the world who's quite willing to tell you how he sees things, and in a similar way, we are also drunk with pride. The initial questions should be, who should we listen to? Where did they get their knowledge from? And how is it insulated from the four human flaws that appear to infect everything? This is a topic that deserves careful consideration and an ideal subject for any serious group of aspiring transcendentalists to explore deeply. This is the type of examination Plato was encouraging us to inquire about when I declared the unexamined life is not worth living. How to surmount the four human flaws is a challenge we all face, either knowingly or unknowingly. Some will pursue that inquiry with alacrity, while others may not understand the conundrum or trivialize it even with inadequate evasions. But the Vedas remind us of this. Otherwise, others might become overwhelmed with the enormity of the quest and slip back into the doldrums of mediocrity. But even the Hebrews say Jesus declared, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be open to you. I think it's in Matthew 7:7. So the Vedic wisdom is based on teachings like Bhagavad Gita, which is directly spoken by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the Srimad Bhagavad Purana, which is spoken by liberated sages like Sukadev Goswami. So that's the key point. So to go back to summarize, this is the four flaws we have. We make mistakes, we're prone to illusion, we have imperfect senses, and we have the propensity to cheat. So how do we know what is the truth? What is the absolute truth? Who do we listen to? Someone who has to be above these flaws for their information to be bona fide. So maybe in my next session we could speak further about, so where do we go for to get information that's reliable. Okay, so thank you very much. I'll stop here for now.